Your Amazon Web Services bill just jumped from $2,000 to $82,000 overnight. A single hard-coded secret in a Jenkins file just cost you a fortune. Let's break down Jenkins Credentials and Secrets Management, how it works, and the exact mistake behind that failure. Jenkins Credentials and Secrets Management is the practice of securely storing, accessing, and rotating sensitive information used by pipelines. Instead of hard-coding secrets, you store them in Jenkins' built-in credential store and inject them at runtime using the Credentials binding plugin. For larger organizations, you can integrate with HashiCorp Vault for dynamic secrets. To store a credential, go to Manage Jenkins Manage Credentials. Choose a scope, Global for shared secrets, Folder for project-specific ones. Jenkins encrypts credentials at rest using a master key. Always use folder-scoped credentials to limit exposure. The Credentials binding plugin provides the with credentials step. It binds a secret to an environment variable or temporary file within a block. The secret is automatically masked in logs. Use it for all secret injection. Even with credentials, secrets can leak if you reassign them to another variable. The Mask Passwords plugin adds extra protection by defining patterns to mask. Always review build logs for accidental exposure. For enterprise environments, integrate with HashiCorp Vault. Install the Vault plugin, configure the server URL and authentication, then create Vault secret credentials. Jenkins fetches secrets on demand, eliminating long-term storage. If you're on a cloud provider, use their Secrets Manager. Jenkins has plugins for Azure Key Vault and Amazon Web Services Secrets Manager. Configure the plugin, create a credential referencing the secret, and use with credentials to inject it. Scope credentials to folders to limit exposure. Global credentials are accessible to all jobs, so use them only for truly shared secrets. Use role-based access control to restrict who can view or manage credentials. Credentials should be rotated regularly. Jenkins doesn't have built-in rotation, but you can automate it using the Jenkins API or by using Vault dynamic secrets, which expire after a TTL. Monitor expiry and have a plan for revocation. The article mentions using Vault secret credential type for seamless masking, but doesn't show how to create one. Here's how to reference a Vault path in a pipeline using the Vault plugin's built-in credential type, which automatically fetches and masks the secret. The Credentials binding plugin version 2+ and Vault plugin version 2+ require Jenkins 2.44+. Ensure your Jenkins version meets this requirement, as older versions may not support the with Vault step or the Vault secret credential type. The article discusses dynamic secrets but doesn't show a concrete example. Here's how to fetch a dynamic database credential from Vault using the vaultthread step and bind it to a variable, though note that masking must be handled separately. When pipelines fail due to credential issues, use list credentials to see what's available. Check the credential ID and scope. Ensure the pipeline user has permission. Enable logging for credential plugins to get detailed errors. This is the same issue we highlighted at the start. Here's exactly why that happened. A developer hard-coded an Amazon Web Services secret key directly in a Jenkins file. The Jenkins file was in a public GitHub repo. A bot scraped the secret and launched hundreds of crypto mining instances, resulting in an $80,000 Amazon Web Services bill. A developer hard-coded an Amazon Web Services secret key directly in a Jenkins file in a public repo, allowing a bot to scrape it and spin up crypto miners. The fix involved revoking the compromised key, removing the Jenkins file from the public repo, and implementing with credentials for all secrets. We also added a pre-commit hook using Git secrets to scan for hard-coded secrets before commits. Hard-coding secrets directly in a Jenkins file exposes them to anyone with access to the repository or build logs. This is the mistake that led to the $80,000 incident. Always use the credential store instead. Using global credentials for project-specific secrets increases the blast radius. If one project is compromised, all jobs can access the secret. Scope credentials to folders to limit exposure. If you assign the secret to a different variable, the masking doesn't follow. The new variable myvar is not recognized by the masking system, so the secret appears in plain text in logs. Always use the variable directly from with credentials. To debug credential issues, use the list credentials step to see all credentials accessible in the current context. Check the credential ID and scope. Ensure the pipeline user has permission. Enable logging for the credentials plugin to get detailed error messages. Let's run through some common interview questions. How do you securely inject secrets into a Jenkins pipeline? Use with credentials step from credentials binding plugin. What is the difference between with credentials and credentials? Helper. With credentials sets up scope and masking. Credentials retrieves a specific binding inside that scope. How would you integrate HashiCorp Vault with Jenkins? Install Vault plugin, configure server URL and auth. Create Vault secret credentials, use with credentials. And a few frequently asked questions. How do I store secrets in Jenkins? Use the built-in credential store with folder scoping or integrate with an external secrets manager like Vault. How do I mask secrets in logs? Use with credentials which automatically masks. Also install the Mask Passwords plugin. Can I use credentials in shared libraries? Yes, pass the credential ID as a parameter and use with credentials inside a node block. Let's recap the key takeaways. Never hardcode secrets. Use with credentials for injection. Scope credentials to folders. Integrate with Vault for dynamic secrets. Mask secrets in logs and audit regularly. Automate rotation and have an incident response plan. Thanks for watching. Ready to go deeper? Up next, Jenkins Security and RBAC, then Jenkins Distributed Builds and Agents, then Jenkins Configuration as Code, JCASC. Find them all at TheCodeForge.io. Thanks for watching. The full article and code examples are covered in detail at TheCodeForge.io.